Hey kids, welcome to lesson 4, controlling memory with variables. Number 13, variable reassignment, part 2, updating values. All of our examples so far have shown how to set the value of a variable by using a combination of numbers and other variables. But what if you wanted to do something like add 10 to the current value of a variable? Wonder how you would do that. Because updating the value in a variable is just moving memory around, the process probably has to go something like this. Read the current value as a variable, add something to it, and then store the new value back into the same variable. The technical term for this is called variable reassignment, when you change the value of a variable based on its current content. To increase the value of num1 by 10, you actually need to do this. So we have our variable num1, that's equal to num1 plus 10. So it doesn't matter, whatever time we call num1, we're always going to add 10 to it. The diagram at the right shows a picture of what's happening. It assumes the value of num1 is 7 before the line is executed. It's actually very similar to what is happening with plain old arithmetic. Compute a value, then store it in a variable. Because the computation has to happen before storing the result in a variable, there is no contradiction here. So over here, we're looking and assuming our num1 is 7. So 7 is replaced in our num1. We're going to add 10, and that now becomes 17. Num1 is now replaced by 17. If we did this again and ran it without resetting the program, num1 would be 17 plus 10. It would become 27. So that would be very helpful for like scoring in games, adding or subtracting life, stuff like that. Very useful command. We have some common mistakes here. To increase the value of a variable by 10, for example, a common mistake is to think of the statement alone will do the trick, num1 plus 10. It doesn't though. This tells the computer to add 10 to whatever the value of num1 is, and the computer will do that, and the result will go nowhere and be lost. So we have to set that variable. Because you're trying to assign a new variable to a variable, it should make sense that the equal sign will be involved somehow. We have a second mistake here. If you were in math class, a statement would make no sense. Num1 equal num1 plus 10. But remember, it reads equal as gets. So if you read a statement above as number 1 gets the value of number 1's current value plus 10, it might make more sense. Get in the habit of using gets. This is a habit I never really got into when I was studying initially. And as you can tell from listening to me, I still commonly use equal instead of gets. And technically, I am wrong. We have a do this. Make a prediction. When you start out with some code again, see what will happen. And we have some code down here. Trace the code and predict what you think will be printed on the console. Note, we're serious about this. Make a prediction. When you force yourself to make a prediction about the code will do, you learn faster since it triggers you to apply your mental model of what's happening. Or run the program to see if you're right. Add a console log statement. We've left you with a little bit of programming to do. Add a console.log statement at the end of the program to see the value of the sum num to see if your prediction was correct. This sounds really exciting. Let's take a look at our code here. We have the variable sum num, which is equal to 7. Sum num is going to be plus 1. So console.log was going to display the sum value is now whatever plus sum num. It repeats it. Sum num will then be sum num plus 1 again. Console.log will then print the value of sum num is now. And then we have another variable here. The plus signs are linking these strings. We have this done again. And then we have another assignment here, but no console.log. I think that's where we need to add our console.log. So what do I think is going to happen? Well, I think it's going to print off the number 8 because the number is 7. So sum num, which is 7, plus 1 is 8. Then it's going to assign that number 8 down here. So 8 plus 1 is 9. And then it's going to go down here and change that number to 9. And 9 plus 1 is 10. So I think it's going to say 8, 9, 10. And then we have sum num is equal to sum num times sum num. And it's replacing those, and it's 10, so it's going to equal 10 times 10. Let's add our console.log statement to see if we're right. The value of some num is now, and then we're going to add plus some num. Let's go ahead and see. Ooh, we have a little error here. The sum num hasn't been declared. Oh, why hasn't it? I have an uppercase S and the rest are lowercase. The N is the uppercase. Remember your camel case, kids. Error's gone. Let's go ahead and hit run. But before I do, again, my prediction should be 8, 9, 10. Then 10 times 10 is 100. So it should say 8, 9, 10, and 100. The value of sum num is 8. Now it's 9. Now it's 10. Now it's 100. Looks like I was right. So again, what we did here was we just kept updating the variable. Very fun, very neat. I think that's all we had to do with this assignment. Let's see if code.org wants anything else. Nope. Good job, kids. I'll see you on the next lesson.